What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the BTS Reviews. Today we're going to be talking about A Real Pain.
Has he always been like this?
I love him, and I hate him,
What a flying jeez.
and I want to be him.
You used to cry about everything.
Yeah, it was awful. Who wants to cry about everything?
We're in a Holocaust tour. If now is not the time to grieve, I don't know what to tell you.
All right, so really quickly before we get into the movie, I just want to say thank you once again to all of you for subscribing, for sharing my videos, for watching my videos. I really, really appreciate it. I'm trying so hard to grow this channel and grow a loyal following. Now for the review. All right, so A Real Pain is a 2024 sort of indie production coming from Jesse Eisenberg. A Real Pain is about two cousins who have lost touch with each other over the years. They used to be joined at the hip, used to be really close with each other. And they're going on this tour together of Poland, specifically where their grandmother grew up. Their grandmother was a Jew. So they're going on a Holocaust tour to see where she was, what she went through. And what I really walked away with, they're going on this journey to learn one last lesson from their grandmother, who is now deceased. All right, so if you have not watched my movie reviews before, I'm going to break down 5 categories. Our 5 categories are going to be directing, acting, cinematography, sound, and for this one, I'm going to swap out visual effects for writing because I think that it's more relevant in this film to talk about writing than visual effects. There's hardly any visual effects in the movie. All right, first up, we've got directing. Jesse Eisenberg is not brand new to directing. He did direct a movie called When You Finish Saving the World starring Finn Wolfhard. That was back in 2022. Never saw that movie, so this is the first movie I've seen that he has directed. But when you're watching the movie, you would never know that it's by a new director, someone who's not maybe as seasoned in the craft as someone like Steven Spielberg or Martin Scorsese or whatever. It's handled very, very nicely. Now, this movie is not for everyone, okay? If your taste in movies is Marvel, DC, rom-coms, anything that's more for entertainment value than for depth and substance, you're not going to like this movie. You're going to fall asleep. You're going to be bored. You're going to give it a bad review. This movie is for anyone who truly wants to think when they're in the theater, who wants to walk away from the theatrical experience with something new in their brain, something that they didn't maybe think about before. And I like the fact that Jesse Eisenberg knows that that's the kind of movie he wants to make. He's not coming in like a lot of these other directors you see these days who want to make a movie with depth and substance and meaning and just add a bunch of flair and jokes and everything just for comedy and pandering to your audience. He's not trying to pander to his audience. He knows that the right audience will find his film, and he's not looking for anything more than that, which I think is really important. Anyone who's out there who's making short films, that is exactly what you should be doing. You should follow your vision through and don't take into consideration, oh, will everyone be perfectly entertained? Who cares? It's your vision. It's your story. You're an artist. And that's what I love about indie filmmakers and indie films is that maybe they don't have the same budgets, but they also don't have the same studio constraints on their artwork. And it can actually breathe and have its own life. So I'm a big fan of Jesse Eisenberg's directing style in this movie. He goes for a Woody Allen feel. This film focuses on the scenery. It focuses on the place. Similarly to Woody Allen's Midnight in Paris, it shows how the place alters the people. The place is a character in this. So these landmarks, these places that they go, most notably the concentration camp that they visit in the film, almost take on their own characters. They are their own characters. And I think it's really cool that he's able to balance that in a way. He's able to tell the stories of these characters and tell the story of a inanimate character, a place, which has its own story. And he brings that to life through a very simple film, which I think is really powerful. So for directing, I thought this was handled really, really well. Jesse Eisenberg, I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10 on this. I want to see more of his work. I'm actually going to go back and watch his directorial debut now. Just because I liked this movie so much. And I felt like this was a beautiful piece of art for him to put out as just his second film. I'm really impressed. 8 out of 10 for Jesse Eisenberg. Next up, we have acting. The acting in this film is very simple It's not overdone in any way. When you're watching these scenes unfold, you feel like you're there. I was noticing certain moments I would be smiling with the other characters or like really concerned at the same time as the other characters. It's because they have these very human conversations, very natural conversations where everyone's playing their roles so well that you forget you're watching a movie. You feel more like you're in a conversation with some people on a tour that you're with, and you're feeling what they're feeling. The tension between characters is carried so well. I just think all around everyone did a really nice job. Although this may not win any actors or actresses any Oscars just because they're not the most standout noticeable performances, they are in no way lesser performances than the performances that might win Best Actor or Actress at the Oscars this year, for the reason that these are more human performances, in my opinion, better performances than a lot of what we have seen or we will see in theaters this year. Also, Jennifer Grey from Dirty Dancing and Ferris Bueller's Day Off is in this. She's a side character in this. One could say baby got put in a corner. But I thought it was really cool to see her still out making movies and being a part of these projects. On this movie, I'm going to give Kieran Culkin Best Actor. And I've been a huge fan of his ever since Succession, and I started watching Succession. He just does a really nice job of embodying his characters and pushing them to the limits and doing everything that he can to really be bold in his acting. I can't wait to see him in another movie, and I really hope he gets some sort of credit for his performance in this film because he absolutely knocks it out of the park. Jesse Eisenberg as well is fantastic, but more noticeable in this movie would be Kieran Culkin. Jesse Eisenberg is a much more muted character, which I think was also a great choice by Jesse Eisenberg as the writer-director to mute his character a little bit more, to not be the standout in the movie that he's also writing and directing. He gives that over to Kieran Culkin, even though it's very much a role that he could pull off. I think knowing your strengths and knowing when to step back is really important. So I admire him for that too. But for this movie, acting-wise, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. All right, next up is cinematography. Cinematography in this movie is some of the best I've seen this year. Anyone who's looking to be a cinematographer, especially someone who's starting out, someone who's working with a lot of natural light, doesn't have all these studio setups, ways to soften light, ways to do all those things, should definitely watch this movie and take notes. I would 100% watch this movie as a lesson in cinematography as an indie filmmaker. There's one scene in particular that stood out to me where they're on a rooftop and they have this giant red sign next to them, and it just illuminates them beautifully for the scene. I think it serves the drama in the scene very nicely, and I love good lighting in a movie, but also good cinematography where the camera is a character, the camera has purpose, its movements have purpose. And I love the fact that they didn't miss out on any opportunities to make the camera have purpose and have meaning. Cinematography in this one, definitely going to go unnoticed by most, but Michael Dymek, the cinematographer on this, should definitely get some props. I'm excited to see his next project as well. I'm going to give cinematography an 8 out of 10. All right, sound in this movie I don't think is anything spectacular out of the box, but I think also if you're not noticing a movie for sound, in a way that's better, it kind of means that the full experience is all together. You're focusing on other aspects of the movie. You're focusing on the story because things like sound are not distracting you and taking you away from it. But nothing really special or spectacular being done here. I'm going to give the sound an average 5 out of 10. All right, and lastly, we're going to come to the writing. Now, obviously, this movie is written by Jesse Eisenberg. I'm just looking now to see if there's anyone else who helped him with the writing. No, it looks like it was just written by Jesse Eisenberg. So original story, original screenplay, all of that. And I'm a big fan of it. I think that more movies should talk about very human things like grief, like loss, like death, like suicide, all different things that are discussed in this movie. It covers so much, and it covers all of them in a very sensitive way. Nothing is taken lightly, although it's not so heavy. There's plenty of humor. There's plenty of just human interaction. This movie notes that grief causes some wonderful things to happen too. As terrible as one life event may be, the growth and the beauty that comes out of that can affect everyone around that person who's maybe going through a tough time. Something, once again, that is not talked about enough. For writing in this, I'm going to give it a very strong 8 out of 10. I really want to see more movies like this. All right, everyone, so that's my review of A Real Pain. As I always say, movies break down into 2 categories. I'm either rewatching it or I'm never going to see it again and I'm going to forget about it. In this case, A Real Pain is definitely on my rewatch list. It's on my recommended list, and it's a movie that I would watch again and take notes on. It's that good. Let me know down in the comments what you thought about this movie. What did you think about the writing, directing, acting, all of that? Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video and subscribe. It means so much to me that you're watching my videos, and I really can't wait to build up a community of people who love movies just as much as I do. Also, side note, this movie is a fantastic watch right before Thanksgiving, I found out, because it makes you really think about what you're thankful for, what you're grateful for, maybe things that past generations have done for you, and they wouldn't normally come to mind. But as Thanksgiving is approaching and we are all thinking about what we're grateful for, I just want to have this at the forefront of your mind. Great movie to watch. It really makes you think.